All right, this morning we're going to do a quick tutorial on iSell and building lists, prospect lists using iSell, and then I'll do a later video on setting those lists up under the Prospects tab in Salesforce so you can sort those lists and view them a little bit easier. But primarily this morning it's going to be using iSell, a feature that we have now built into Salesforce to help you build prospecting lists. So you'll see from your main screen in salesforce.com, you should see up at the top one of your tools that you can access is the iSell tool. I think it's important to note here that iSell is a separate program that we have running with inside salesforce.com. So when you pull up prospects or you search prospects in iSell, they are not yet into salesforce.com, and we will move them there. That'll be part of this tutorial, is moving them into the prospects tab so you can actually work them as prospects. So for right now, we just want to be able to access iSell and build a list. So I will click on iSell. It's going to open it up. The first time you open up iSell, you'll have the opportunity to develop your first list from a wizard. And then at subsequent times that you open it up, it's going to come to your last search. It'll show you the results from your last search. So what I wanted to focus on here was I've got some pre-made lists that I have saved that I can go back and refer to and change, and we'll discuss how you can save lists and change them and get updates on those lists periodically. So I've got some that are built when you first go into iSell, you won't have any saved lists yet, so you'll want to be building it either using the wizard or using the do-it-yourself. I prefer to use the do-it-yourself tool feature within iSell, a little bit easier and has more. It's a little more robust, allows you some more options. So now the first thing that you'll do when you go to build your list is click the do-it-yourself link. Okay, so once you click on that link, then it'll open up to the do-it-yourself page. So you see you have a number of options here on how to search, but primarily what we're concerned about is the geography. So where are you searching? Okay. And then we're also going to look at company type. What are you searching? Because we know that we want to drill into core vertical markets, and so and markets and verticals that need pest control. So that's why we're going to be searching on company type. Right now I'm not really concerned about named accounts. I'm not concerned about the size of the company. All of that we'll take that into account once we've done our search. So the main thing that we're going to want to do right now is figure out what our geography is. Now, in some of your bigger regions, some of you may have specific suburbs of a metro area that you cover, and you cover that whole suburb. So, for example, here in Dallas, a suburb may be Grapevine, or it may be Tarrant County, or it may be, it may be just Fort Worth proper, and that sort of thing. So you can search really easily using a county, using a metro area, using a specific city. If you use specific city, it'll narrow it down. So for example, in the Dallas metro area, if I chose Grapevine, it's only going to find the businesses in Grapevine and not necessarily the surrounding areas. If I wanted to choose the surrounding areas and use a whole metro area, so if I was the only salesperson for the DFW metro, I would click on more, and I would choose metro area, and I would choose the Dallas metro area. Okay, so the other thing is sometimes you have territories that have a number of zip codes in them. And so you may have 10, 15, 20 zip codes in your area, and the boundaries of the cities cross over within those zip codes. And so your best search may be a postal or zip code search. And you can search on a number of zip codes at one time. So for example, if you just put the zip codes in with commas after them, that'll give you, however many zip codes you want. And I've searched on up to 30 zip codes at the same time, built a list, and then saved that list of zip codes so I could go back in later and choose different geographies. So you can definitely search on zip codes as well. So if your territory is a whole state, you can choose state, city, metro. A region will be North Dallas, or I'm sorry, North Texas, that sort of thing. So, or you can search on area codes if your territory is an area code. In our world that we're working with now, it's primarily going to be city, metro area, or zip code. In some cases, maybe you can use counties if your territory is a specific county as well. So what I'm going to focus on today, let's really just look at zip codes. So the first thing you're going to choose is your geography that you're going to be searching in. I'm going to use the zip code that I'm in right now. So you put in your zip code. If it's multiple zip codes, you put a comma in and add those zip codes in. Then you click add. Okay, you can add a distance around that zip code if you want to expand that out, or if you want to keep it just within the zip code, just leave it as the zip code that you've chosen, and you pick OK. The next thing you'll want to go to is down to company type, and this is where it can get interesting, because you can see under company type we have industry, the invention database, we have just a basic business description, which I wouldn't recommend. We'll get into that. Ownership type, and you see here there's more. If I click on that more button, it gives me other databases. So there's the USIC database, the ISIC database, the NAICS database, and of course you can see business description, ownership type, Fortune 1000 companies. I would really stick to these first four for our searching capabilities, because the business description may be too broad for us and get us, it'll cast too wide of a net. So every business within this zip code is going to be included in here. They're just sorted differently based on the different database that we're looking at. So invention is one type of database. The USIC is another database that sorts it differently. ISIC sorts it differently. So you can use any of them. I use all of them depending on what I'm searching for. So let's just go into the industry invention database. I'll click on it now. And I opened up the industry invention database. What I like to do to make sure that I'm looking for the right type of vertical, I like to browse industry, because again, it narrows my scope for what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click on that browse industry tab. Okay, so you can see once I open up the browse industry tab that there are different vertical markets all the way through here. So if I want to focus on food and beverage distribution or wholesale, I may look at alcoholic beverage wholesale. I don't want beer, wine, and liquor stores, because I'm looking for either manufacturing or distribution in this particular place. Food manufacturing, food distribution. And even grocery wholesale is fine. So if I throw my net wide out there, I can get the restaurants and bars, or I can narrow it down and just choose restaurants and bars. But anyway, I'm just going to select these right now. I'm going to add that selection, and then I'm going to click OK. And the first thing that you'll see is within this zip code, it came up with 12 potential companies right here. You can see that before you click anything else. So we're looking at 12 potential companies from this particular zip code. So I'm going to view those. I'm going to click View. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring up those options. So Hunter's Choice, Chance Slater, Retail Commodities, Planet Donuts. These are all going to be either food distribution or food manufacturing. So if I hover over one, Hunter's Choice, it's going to show me that this is a food manufacturing facility. They've got 6 employees, and it comes from Dun & Bradstreet. So then if I click on Hunter's Choice, I can actually go into it. Click on the name, it's going to open it up. And this is going to give me some detail for Hunter's Choice. Okay, so not a lot of detail here. It talks about the revenue, $400,000 in revenue, established in 2005. Tells you their credit rating from Dun & Bradstreet. So it gives you just a little bit of information depending on the business and depending on how much information they have put in. This will give you more information. So we can see here that this is a meat packing plant. We know that they need pest control, so this would be a good one. And then key contacts here, it says Mr. Brent Stroop is our key contact. That may or may not be accurate in this particular case. I'm not so much worried about contacts, because we can ask for who the contact is that makes the pest control decisions when we make our initial phone call. So there are other features within iSell that that we can get into later on, but really right now I'm worried about building the list, the initial list. So I'm going to bounce back a page and go back to our 12 prospects here. I like all these 12 prospects. We've got a grocery wholesaler in here. It appears that we have another grocery wholesaler, Sugar Ridge Winery. Wineries are good for pest control. So we've got 12 potential prospects that I like. So a couple of things that we can do here to start working with these prospects. The first thing is we can export. So if I choose the export feature here, all I'm going to be doing is taking and moving this list into an Excel spreadsheet. So if I hit export, I want to export the entire list into an XLS format, and I export it, and then I open it. It is going to open up that particular list in a spreadsheet format for me. Okay, so I can see as I scroll over, there's a lot of information here, but you can see that the telephone numbers are listed, the revenues are listed, the number of employees, how it's how it's set in the invention database, in the US SIC code database, in the ISIC code database, in the NAIC database, and so on and so on. So you can see how it's categorized in other databases as well. So we've got these 12 customers here. Don't necessarily, I mean, this is just something quick. If you're going to be going out and hitting the streets, that's great. If you don't want to build a campaign around them, you can simply use it like this. However, if we are going to be building a campaign around these, we want to move them into our prospects tab because I can't really work with them from here. So in this particular case, when I want to move them into salesforce.com, I'm going to click send to CRM. And let me do that. Send to CRM. And I'm going to have my options here to send the entire list, which I want to do. And I'm going to move them over. You would just click next in this particular case. You're going to move them over as leads, and you're going to move the contacts over as leads as well. So you click next, and it's going to search for any duplicates that you may have already in, and it's record successfully sent over 12 new leads. So that is as simple as it gets in terms of building a list. Now, if you want to start over, you want to keep the same zip code, and you want to search in a different vertical, you can X all of these at one time, I guess. And then you go into more under the company type, go back into the invention database, browse industry. Now, for example, let's say you want to look at manufacturing. So you expand out on manufacturing to see what other options are in there. You're interested in chemical manufacturing. It really depends on what is in, that territory, what vertical you want to go through. And you can build, another list. I'll just select all the manufacturing. So you can select on the main heading, and it'll select all of them. You can deselect whatever ones you don't want. Then you add that selection in. It's going to be all manufacturing, and you can see here that it came up with 30 companies that I'm looking at. So if I view those, I can see all 30 of those, and I can see that it's got 40 employees, 35 employees, all the way down to 2 employees and 1 employee. See, I got some orchards and stuff in there, which should be interesting. So then again, if I want to move those over to the CRM, I just click send to CRM. You see it here, it automatically shows send to selected prospects only. That's only going to send the first one, A&W Productions. It's the only one selected if I keep it there. I want to send the whole list over, so I'm going to select entire list, click next again. It's going to search for duplicates. It's going to find some duplicates because some of that food manufacturing is listed in both categories of the database. So I'm going to let it just resolve it automatically and click OK and sending to CRM, and it'll automatically resolve, and it sent 25 of those 30 over because 5 of them were duplicates. So that's all you have to do to create your list out of iSell. It is that easy. In subsequent short little videos, I'm going to show you how to use iSell to do some impactful clover leafing around existing appointments that you have, and how to do additional research on vertical markets. But for now, that's what we have for building a list in iSell. Quick and easy way to get some target accounts into your prospects tab.